declare or move?
No, declare.
Declare?
Declare, yes.
All right, I declare us back in open session. I need a motion to extend the meeting half hour. Fiona, Jim, all those in favor? Opposed? 4 opposed, so we narrowly made it. All right, action items, approval of financial statements.
Motion to approve?
No one, discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous? Approval of budget transfers.
So moved.
Second by Ellen. Discussion?
Yeah, now again, on that money there, that money is savings that we're getting from the employee,
Salary account, but yes, employee.
from that group that would have done that work.
Actually, this is a guy who's no longer, he resigned. He's no longer a custodian, but the salary was allocated to him. So
Do
we're
all that
transferring
work.
from, yeah. We're transferring from the salary account to pay for the snow plow.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Approval, or I need a motion to recommend that Torrington Public Schools be the recipient of the Early Childhood Education Grant, or be the selected site for the Early Childhood Education Grant.
So moved.
You know, second? Jim? Discussion?
Yeah, I'm just too confused on who the participants are, who the players are. It just changes too much for me to vote in favor of it at this time. I believe we should get the money, and but it's just not presented properly as far as my understanding.
I will agree with the program as long as the funding continues. Once the funding stops, the program goes away.
That was also a recommendation from budget.
Yes. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention.
I don't feel like I have enough information to make it once.
Okay, 3 noes.
I want to change my no to abstention as well. That's pretty much the way I do it.
You want to change your no to
I'm abstaining.
Okay, so now, Mr. Kisco and Mr. Knight were noes, Mr. Richardson and Mr. Nargi are abstentions. You got that right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. D and E, we're going to eliminate. We're not going to take any action on those. Need a motion to approve the new budget meeting schedule.
So moved.
Fiona, second. Ellen, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Lee, David, you're still here, right? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. We need a motion to approve or to amend the approval of the ADA compliance exterior Phase 1 project from the September 17th, 2014. The motion that was presented did not include the wording Torrington High School. And for this compliance, we need to amend, to change the motion to read Torrington High School, that, I'm sorry, to read ADA compliance exterior Phase 1 project, Torrington High School.
Right.
It's a wordsmithing thing for the meeting minutes of September 17th, 2014. Anybody? Dan? Do I have a second?
John?
Discussion?
The motion to just make the correction in our minutes, or-
Yes. The motion is to change the wording, right?
in our minutes?
The motion is just, all you're doing is, all the minutes are staying the same. All you're doing is adding the Torrington High School to the beginning of all those motions that we had made when you made me the building committee, when you accepted to go out to grant for the ADA compliance project. Once again, we never said the Torrington High School in the wording at the beginning of that motion. That's all that is. That's all you're changing it. Just amending that.
There's no impact.
There is no impact other than the fact that they picked it up at the state when we applied for the grant, and nowhere does it say the Board of Ed approved it for the Torrington High School.
And what was the, what was the work done that put it into compliance? I wasn't on the board at the time.
This is an ADA site project that we're doing. We brought forward as an application to the state to do this summer here at the high school. And what it is going to do some ADA compliance parking areas and grading in the front of the school and at the side of the school by the auditorium.
And when they reviewed it, Bill, because it didn't specifically say Torrington High School, the state wants to make sure that the board fully approves it, because they want to make sure somewhere down the road, you know,
They would-
Sure.
even though it's in the capital budget.
And I just wanted to know what it was that
Yeah,
that I would be approving.
That's what it was.
You had, it was approved in September, but once again, just that one word, Torrington High School, was not put in at the beginning.
Right, and I wasn't appointed until October.
Right, that's what happened.
Thanks.
I'm done, thank
Okay.
you.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Or unanimous? Consent agenda. Fiona,
No,
second.
can I-
Oh,
Can I just, we need to remove the budget committee meeting. We didn't have a quorum of the people that were at the meeting
okay.
to approve, to move those forward to the full board.
Okay.
So my motion would be to approve the consent agenda minus 3C.
You still want to second that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Did you get that, Michael? Okay. Any discussion?
On discussion, on 4, I want to pull the name of Daniel Burke out for discussion.
Okay.
This is the meeting we talked about earlier, or for budget, or? I'm sorry, I'm confused, I don't know what we're talking about.
We're talking about, the consent agenda is the appointments and resignations. And Mr. Nargi is asking to remove one of the names. You would,
To pull it off for separate discussion.
separate discussion.
All right.
I will need to amend your motion to allow Mr. Nargi to pull that out.
I mean, he can amend the motion, I'm not in support of.
On the pulling of the person's name out of the consent agenda, that's not one of those situations where the board can block that from happening. That's my right to have that
Right.
name pulled.
Right, so it's your right to make the motion to do that. I'm not
Oh,
going to make
okay.
the motion.
So you're gonna withdraw your
I'm going to
motion?
withdraw my motion. You can make a motion. if
I'm
you
still
want.
not sure what we're talking about, I'm sorry.
There's a list of
If
names.
the list of names that are on the consent agenda generally can be approved as a block, but a board member has the right to request one name or multiple names be pulled off the list to be discussed individually instead of as a lump of names. And Mr. Nargi is asking that one of those names be
I got it now.
pulled out from the consent
I
agenda.
got it now, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry to take
Oh,
so
that's
much
No
right.
time.
problem.
Well, we actually have to remove the guy from, or remove this name from the list notify him, he has a right to have it in open or in so it'll have to go to next month.
We can discuss anyone in open session. What we can't do is move into executive session without someone's permission.
Correct.
You know, Whether you want to do that is another story, you're the
Correct.
chair, but the
Well, I'm
law.
saying, we have to give them the right. We have to ask this
No,
person.
we don't have to ask someone to discuss them in open session. We have to ask for their permission to discuss them in executive session.
I thought they had the right to
Be present.
ask
They have the
to
right
go
to be
into
present,
executive
and
session.
they have the right to request it be an executive session.
Yeah.
They have the right to be notified that they might come up in open session, which presumably this is, I would agree, we should not do it.
Yes.
But I think that this is adequate notice that it's a possible topic of discussion. Maybe not. And as I say, as chair, that's your prerogative
Right.
to call that.
Either way, we can't be discussing.
We shouldn't, no, I don't think we should either, but.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda minus H4, Daniel Burke from the consent agenda.
And
the
3C.
plan and the budget.
Yes.
And 3C?
And 3C.
Okay.
I will second that.
All right. Discussion.
I'm not in support based on this category. I think the board and the district has a grievance process that these things should be heard at and not through an open forum where the board doesn't have all the information. And I don't think it's our purview, so I will not do
You know,
it.
Andrew's just having something pulled off the consent agenda, which is his right.
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 We really don't have to approve of that. He's saying it's off the consent agenda. What happens after that's another
Right.
story.
She's just, in discussion, she's saying she does not agree with pulling that off the consent agenda because people in that category have their own means to vent or to
I don't
complain.
think it's whether you like it or not, it can happen.
Right, but she's still gonna have the opinion. I mean, no offense to Andrew, but he voices his opinion all the time. Right or wrong, I mean, okay.
You're not offended by that, are you?
No, I don't.
I don't think so.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
What do we do? Sorry.
This is Andrew's motion to approve the consent agenda minus 3C and under 4, the removal of Daniel Burke.
Which the board doesn't have the right to override his removal of that person from the consent agenda, correct?
Correct. Now, what's that? We have to vote on the motion to approve the consent agenda minus 3C and Dan Burke.
That we just did.
No, only,
No, the motion was made, now we have to vote on it.
we didn't get any, there was confusion as to what they were voting on. So I restated what we were voting.
Okay, I'm
So-
confused then. Okay, so if we vote in, not in favor of that,
Mm-hmm.
then there has to be another motion. But
Mhm.
he has the right to say he doesn't want that person. So we can't vote on that. We can only vote on taking off C.
Yeah, I don't know the motivation either way to keep or remove, so what are we voting on?
Does that make sense?
It does.
And I get why we can't talk about it right now, but
He has the right to ask for someone to be removed.
sure.
Whether that motion passes or not is a totally different discussion. His motion is to remove the gentleman, and he has the right to request that.
But that's not the vote.
No, no.
The
But
vote
if
is
the-
to approve
If
the
your
other
motion
ones.
fails,
No, you still can't vote on that person.
Right.
okay,
He can make a motion.
All
the
we're
other
doing
ones.
is pulling this thing from the consent agenda, and we can then vote up or down on that as an individual, if you want to do it that way. It's, all we're doing is, instead of
All right.
lumping this person in, we're now taking it out as an individual vote.
well, then I'll make it more complicated. Do you want to amend your motion to pull him out and vote on it independently?
And if we do, then we have the discussion item as well.
Yep.
Okay,
We'll most likely defer it to next month.
Okay, we'll do
We're
it. I'll
gonna
make
end up
the
in the same
motion.
boat, because we should notify the gentleman we're gonna talk about him.
Sure,
So make that part of the vote.
Or just leave it the way it is, we'll just pull it out, and then we'll move it to next month.
yeah.
So we
Notify.
don't vote to pull it out.
No, you don't.
We vote on the other.
Yes.
However many
Yeah.
there are, plus, minus C.
Yep, Andrew, John, minus 3C, and Daniel Birkendow.
Right.
All those in favor? 1, 2, 3. All those opposed?
I'm in favor because I don't want to hold up the other appointments, so. So the motion is.
The motion is to approve the consent agenda minus 3C, the budget committee meetings. And Andrew has requested the pulling
So
of
1,
Daniel
2, 3,
Birkendow.
4, and 6,
Yes.
and minus C. I'm in favor.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Wait.
John, are you back in favor of the motion? It's the
No,
original motion.
Ellen didn't restate it. What did you say, Ellen?
I said to accept the consent agenda, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. No?
But we don't
1, 2,
accept
3,
four.
4, and 6.
We don't accept 4. That's what Andrew is.
We don't-
4 is discouraged.
We don't have a 6.
She's counting on,
She's counting the
on
people.
here on the spreadsheet.
Oh,
I'm counting
I
the
thought we were
numbers.
going down to the
Oh.
consent
I'm
agenda.
counting the number of
All
people.
right, I was looking at the.
So she's
the
saying 1,
things
2,
in
3, 4,
consent
and 6.
agenda.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 6.
The lines aren't numbered, so I don't know how that's.
I
gonna
put
show up.
numbers on that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, and minus C.
3C.
Okay,
3C.
I'm lost.
H 3C.
H3C.
If you look at the original agenda,
QRS.
all right? On the original agenda, John, on the original agenda, the consent agenda, we are voting on to approve the January 21st, 2015 regular Board of Education meeting minutes. We are voting to approve the January 28th, 2015 special Board of Education student A minutes. We are voting to approve H3, approval of subcommittee meetings minutes, policy committee meeting January 7th, 2015, personnel committee meeting January 14th, 2015. We are voting to approve appointments and resignations minus Daniel Burke. We are voting to approve number 5, H5, notices for homeschooling. There's none this month. That's the motion that we're voting on. All those in favor of that motion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Opposed? Abstaining? 3 abstentions. Richardson, Hinman, and Tebow. Comments for the good of the order. Ellen? Nothing to you? Okay. I shocked you by starting over there, didn't I? John? Save it, Andrew, for last.
Only to say that I hope we're going to get the teacher contract approved next month at the town council meeting.
March 2nd.
That's all.
Dan? Nothing. Jeremy?
Just one quick thing, there was a nice write-up in the paper earlier this week about Connecticut being among the leaders for graduation rates in the country from the Department of Education. I think 86% was the number, which was above the national average of 81, so something nice to think about on the way out today.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Fiona? Ellen?
Couple things. At East School, in reference to their garden, it's called the Seed Keeper Company. They were selected, they selected one from every state, so they were selected to be the keeper of the home farmer, and they'll be getting seeds through a grant to perpetuate the garden. So they were given this honor in recognition of the school gardening efforts. And also, they have a reading incentive program, and it's called Pig Out on Reading. And there's a farmer farmer minor, and his pig is Daisy. So they read so many books, and if they read 125,000 minutes, that the principal will kiss the pig. The farmer and the pig will come, but they're going gangbusters, and they're reading like.
You should reach out to the principal that's already been kissed by that.
I remember that well, it's very prickly. Not soft and smooth at all.
You have to touch base with her then,
I
and let her
will.
know.
The Sues will get together.
Yes, let her know, lots of lip gloss.
Hey.
You're ending with the pig lip gloss?
Present company.
Jim?
Nothing, I can't top that.
It's hard to follow that, isn't it? Jeff?
Just a couple things. The first thing is at the end of our last full board meeting, John brought up that there was a cave breakfast coming up, and he and I were able to attend it. And that was the first experience I've had with something like that, but it was really neat to be able to meet some legislators and hear what they had to say. So just point of information in the future, if you have an opportunity to attend something like that, I would recommend it. Second thing is just to reiterate the concern that I voiced earlier about not feeling like I had adequate information to make a judgment. You know, I read the paper almost every day, and I guess I missed the article, but even if I had seen it, an article in the paper, no matter how well it's written, doesn't have enough information for somebody on this board to make a judgment on something that's a multi-million-dollar issue. So I feel very strongly that there must be a way. If something is going to be an action item that we are expected to vote on, I don't see any reason why we can't get some information on that. So I would really ask our leadership or whoever needs to tackle this to find a way to do that better. Because I would have liked to be able to vote for this today if I felt it was the right thing. I didn't have the information.
Mr. Knight?
Nothing.
Andrew?
I'd just like to promote my concept, as I will every meeting, which is that as we go forward, I would really love to see if this district, this community can go forward with the idea of getting an Olympic-sized swimming pool and an enclosed hockey rink into potentially our new school that we may be building or renovating, and that if not, maybe we can look at doing a joint venture again with Oliver Wolcott Tech, and hopefully they would be able to get some state money and we can get some state money. It's a concept that I went to my old high school, which has an enclosed facility, and they spend millions of dollars on pools and hockey rinks, and people pay $50,000 a year for those types of things. So maybe for $2-3 million or $5 million, if we add those types of facilities to Torrington, it would bring forth a group of people that say, why go to that school or that school? You want to send our kids to Torrington, and they have just as fine facilities as these $50,000 a year schools, and it's all part of the community. How wonderful that would be. Okay, so
Being
we'll
an
keep
ex-hockey
going
player
forward,
and an
and we have our
ex-player, I
state
couldn't
rep
agree
here who was good enough to get us some money for a beautiful field, so let's keep going with that positive direction. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Committee reports, budget.
Just hoping that as many board members as possible can attend the budget committee meetings, where we're really going to be vetting all of these items. I think it's really helpful to get all the information as it's being discussed. We're going to be busy on it as well.
Well, we'll stick with you. Grievance? No, Jim?
Grievance.
Grievance.
Grievance was kind of co-chaired.
Patty code.
Okay.
Worked on the para issue where we meet on the 23rd, after we get some feedback from Dave Pacetta. And the grievance for custodial, that was declined. No, that's not, I'm okay. Next one.
Yeah.
And there's another grievance coming up for TA next Monday.
Personnel.
We are continuing with our monthly reports and looking forward to adding a new graph to it, as well as the fact that our policy, procedure, and operation manuals for all Midgeon Avenue departments have finally been completed. So we now know what all the jobs at Midgeon Avenue entail, timelines, schedules, forms, and can hopefully copy those seamlessly. Our meeting for next month will be the review of the board as per the change. However, as it conflicts with the budget meeting, we'll have to reschedule that meeting for another day and time. So that date will be March 11th at 6 p.m. with the new budget calendar that conflicts with that. So we will have to readjust that, and then we'll go out to the board as soon as we can get a meeting date.
No, that's the regular budget.
If you check your calendar that was approved this evening,
Oh, because it's at 6 and you're at
that's
6.
it.
Did we talk about moving that to 5:30 last week?
It's the review with the full board, it's our annual review. Will be done in March this year by the Personnel Committee.
We're gonna attempt to review the board the same month we're doing budget,
Yeah. Yeah, we decided that,
but we were supposed to do it in January, which I know things, but I can't imagine that you would try to undertake both of those things in March. Can we do the board review in April, after budget season?
we can move it wherever we want. We just have to make sure that we do the superintendent's review in time, and we need to do ours before we do hers. So you need enough time in between. I'm perfectly fine with,
Well, we'll look at the 11th and see. Because I thought personnel got bumped up. Okay. Policy.
Well, we have the bylaws, the lunch policy, field trips, liaison assignments, graduation requirements, turf field, tutoring policy, and telephone meetings. So we're all over this.
Good. Like to hear. School improvement.
No place near as busy as either personnel or policy. We had our reorganizational meeting this month. Discussed NAASC and the Distinguished Alumnus Award. I would invite anybody on the board who has any ideas for recognizing someone as a distinguished alumnus of Torrington High School. Please let someone on the committee know, or come to, better yet, come to the meeting.
John, we
And,
received 3. I received 3 so far, just from
3 and
however it got out.
good. Well, it was in the newspaper. Rona was good enough to put something in
Okay.
the
I didn't
newspaper,
see it.
and you were the contact person.
Yep.
So I'm glad to hear that's going on. And we will continue our discussions and also begin to discuss the community relations part of it, and maybe joining up with the overall plan that seems to be all over town, but no particular place, to brand Torrington, develop an identity, and then begin to promote the town. And then we would have some better idea how to promote the schools within that. And that's the school improvement community relations report.
You're next. THS.
The snow gods hate the Torrington High Schools. Right? About, what, 3 or 4 meetings were just, shot out from under us, scheduled to meet next Monday, so it's gonna snow. But that's what's going on there. The Torrington High PTO had a successful carnation sale. Just about.
You're at
And
the kindergarten fair.
Kindergarten fair, yeah, not much to do with Torrington High School, but that went well too, went very well. Lying around Connecticut, covered it for 2 weeks, so it must have done something right. You got it.
The ice meetings were very successful.
Mhm.
We had 130 parents
Yeah.
with their families, with their children.
Yeah. Off to a slow start, but once it got going, the place was full of little kids in there. It's just as it is every year.
Like I said, the ice creaming booth was very busy once things got rocking.
And we had 2 children recommended, so pushed them forward. So the Lions are a great help in doing that. Good partners.
Ed Connection.
Board of Directors met last Thursday in Litchfield. They're really doing quite well with the Danbury facility, which doesn't have much to do with us. They've are finally done with the calendar, the regional calendar. The calendar we approved has nothing to do with their calendar, but that's okay, because there's some leeway in there, and next year's not a mandatory year anyway. And they are really paying a lot of attention this year to the legislative program, and we'll be talking to our lobbyist, I think, meeting after next. So if you have any ideas for that, not that we would have any different ideas, but please let me know what you want brought up as we speak to the lobbyist, and I will do that. End of reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Turfield,
We meet tomorrow at 6 and discuss everything.
we'll talk about it next week. Okay, items, well, we do have the invention convention at the middle school next week. That's Monday through Thursday, right? Monday through Thursday. Items for upcoming agenda will be financial statement committee reports and budget. Future meetings, school improvement and community relation, we got a short time. 6 o'clock, Wednesday the 4th at Midgeon. Policy committee, 7 o'clock, Wednesday the 4th at Midgeon. Yeah.
They agree.
Personnel, we're going to have to reschedule. Budget committee is at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the 11th, plus the whole litany of other dates we already mentioned. And our regular Board of Ed meeting will be Wednesday, March 18th, 2015. Motion to adjourn. Jeremy got it. We'll give Dan a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?